Greetings, Vikings. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to the very first episode of Crusader Kings 3 Northern Lords, which originally aired live on Twitch. We are going to be playing Crusader Kings 3. This is, of course, a result of the YouTube poll, where the plurality voted for it. All right, so before we get going, this is, of course, a result of a poll. And I've been eagerly awaiting this, and I figured because of all the Viking-themed stuff going on, I played Valheim for a bit, and then I'm playing the Blades of Ragnarok. It would make a lot of sense if we did a Viking series here. Now, much like all the other stuff I put out, we are going to be working on viewer-submitted goals and ideas. So, with that said, I do have an idea for how I want to start, but then once we get started, I will leave the rest up to you. There is a very real possibility that we get totally crushed. I'm going to basically be starting as the underest of underdogs. I think the starting leader is going to have good traits, but their starting position is going to be downright terrible. All right, let's get going. Let's start this off. And thanks for all the bits. All the wonderful bits to start the day. With me and Yoda here. We're ready. We are ready. All right, starting a new game. If you want to play... So there's, as you can see, different ages here up top. This isn't, of course, a tutorial series. It really is not a tutorial series. I don't know this game very well, so you've been warned. But we're going to be playing Wrath of the Northmen, where we start in 867. But there's 3 different ages to play in this stage. And then, instead of playing one of these easy things, which honestly I should do, given my experience with Crusader Kings, we are going to make it terrible, where I'm going to create my own ruler. That's right, making my own ruler. This is not likely to end well for me, but I'm excited nonetheless. So, here is sort of the Viking North. If we view, when you look around here, you can kind of see what culture they have. So here are some Finns and some Norse. That's pretty much who dominates up top, and they come down to about here. This is as far south as they go. And there's also Finnish, of course, over this way, over yonder. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be picking, like I said, the underest of underdogs. This because I'm a sadist, and also likely I would lose. So let's go to, and I'm going to pronounce everything wrong. Sogn? Let's call it Sogn. I don't know. I don't know what to call it. And we're going to be creating a ruler from scratch. So very first question. The male or female? So I'm just going to describe a little bit while y'all get polled, but do these polls quickly because I'm going to be going rather fast. So you've got your dynasty name. This is what you could view as like a last name. And then the realm and the current seals. You can change the type of faith that you start off with, but because I'm going to be in Nordic lands, I want to be Norse, so that there's not faith conflict between me and my neighbors. And this is the starting culture, of course. There is a whole lot of them, but again, I'm going to be North Germanic, matching those around me. Thanks for the sub, not that obvious. And Giraffe, thanks for the gifted sub as well. All right, so it looks like I'm going to be female. All right, that works. Let's name me Sarolyn, a reference that some of you might get. And the next big thing that I need you all to do is what sort of education? So simply put, you've got, I'm going to try to explain these as fast as I can. Intrigue would be like spycraft. Then you have diplomacy. which is your ability to wheel and deal with other nations, kingdoms, duchies, etc. You've got stewardship, which is your ability to tax and govern. We have got martial, which is combat and strategy. And then learning, which would be religion and sort of cultural, cultural ability. I'm not explaining these very well. Again, I'm relatively new to this game, as this game is actually relatively new, so there's really only so much that I can truly be able to explain. As far as the game rules go, I'm gonna do Iron Man here. I'm really, it's very stupid. I should not be Iron Man. But what that will do is that will limit our starting points, so that we only have a certain amount of customization points. Meaning that we can't be like super overpowered. So there's a weight slider here if you want to be super gaunt or, the opposite. We won't. And then we can also change appearance. So while you're all voting on that there, I'm going to change my appearance. Now, Sarolyn is a reference to my Mountain Blade series, where she became the queen of the Valandians. I'd like to be able to be... Oh, some of these are not lookers. Or rather, I should say, does not in any way look like Sarolyn. Now, Sarolyn was more... she looked more... Mediterranean. Oh, yeah, some of these Mediterranean look a lot closer. So I'm not going to really look like Norse. But I don't want to spend a ton of time trying to find someone that looks like her. Oh, wow. This is struggle. Customize further. All right. Give me the hairstyle at the very least. This is close-ish. 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 Okay. Sarolyn, Valentia. All right. And it looks like you all picked a martial background. That works. The next thing I want to do is I'm not going to start married. I'm not going to start off with kids. We can change this around. I don't really care what it looks like. But here are... We'll see the coat of arms here. We'll just pick some sort of at random here. There. Close enough. All right. I do have more customization points. And what's going to be important, what I like to do is at least get it, the leader up to, like, sort of average everything, so that they're not completely bumbling idiots. There's personality traits. These personality traits usually have benefits and deficits, but they do have cost associated. As you can see, some of them have negatives, like Shy is a -1, because the benefits don't outweigh the penalties. Same with Craven and so on and so forth. But even something that you would think would not be a positive, like Deceitful, because it gives more intrigue than it causes diplomacy loss, it is a positive. I'm going to sort of try to roleplay as best as I can. So if I'm martial here, you had me be martial. I want to be a diligent martial or diligent soldier. Rather than wrathful, is there something better? Brave, maybe? Now, there's other traits as well, and these other traits can vary greatly. Some of them can even be inherited. So if we scroll down enough, we can see congenital traits, which are ones that can be passed down to children, which is pretty cool. And Popcorn and Kadath, thanks for even more. More bits. And then we have Llama Dude with a sub, and Craig with the resub. You guys just keep going. So I would like to be intelligent if possible, but then of course, as you can see, my customization points are too high, so let's be quick. And that is a perfect 399 out of 400. That's about as good as it gets. I'm going to lower my diplomacy, raise my prowess. Now, prowess is your sort of ability for personal combat, and martial is your ability to command. So, given Sarolyn's experience, let's tinker with this a little bit, making her a very dangerous warrior, but a little bit less as a governor, not a governor, as a general. Okay, that's done. But yeah, the traits here can also be negative too, right? So I could be, hunchbacked, or I could be lisping, or a bleeder. I could also be a warrior of faith. So there's a huge variety of traits, and you can really design it however you want. You can be there's a lot that you can do here. So you could be like a cannibal raider or something like that. But for this, I'm just going to be very basic, just so that we can get accustomed. Sarolyn was also sort of really, really, really tall, so I'm going to have her looking very, very imposing. There we go. All right, finalize appearance. And this is our final character. So we're going to be the chieftess of Sagan, Sarolyn of Sagan. We have our crest, and we have all the starting conditions. This is indeed Iron Man enabled, so oh boy, is this ever going to go wrong. And let's start. Yes. I don't need to save the cloud. So right at the beginning here, this is our territory. As you can see, our territory is part of a duchy, but we don't own the duchy. We only own Sagan. So we have two neighbors to our south that have territory that we would want to eventually claim. You end up, again, not a tutorial series, but here's your money up here, your monthly income and your total money. 18 gold is what I have with an income of 1.3. And this is affected by my stewardship and also my councilman's stewardship. So that would be this steward. And you have a council of usually 6. If I had a spouse, they'd be here. And as you can see here, like, for instance, my councilwoman, who is supposed to be in charge of my faith, is basically faithless. They also seem to be very small. I'm sort of curious if they have some sort of... Yep, they're dwarf. Okay. It's funny, because that really harkens to a certain council person who's a dwarf as well. But she is not bright like the other one. You've got your chancellor, who runs diplomacy, and you can also tell them what to do. So this council, she's trying to improve my piety. He's trying to improve my prestige. They're trying to raise taxes, raise a levy, and then run and disrupt schemes. So most of these council members have pretty decent stats, like average stats, but of course not all of them. You will also, this year, the current situation is sort of the things that you could do. So it's telling me that I have 5 wars that I could start, but every single person that I could go to war with has a stronger army than I do right now, so that wouldn't be wise. And then I have few champions. Champions are people that accompany you on war campaigns, and they can also, of course, be added to your council. And then up here is some other decisions that I could do. There's the decision available of the Grand Blot, which is a sort of grand festival to sort of set about your plans as you go forward. Here's a warning that I don't have a player heir because I don't have a spouse or a child. That I haven't picked a lifestyle, but I'm going to pick martial. But you guys are going to decide whether I am strategist, overseer, or gallant. So, lifestyle choice. So strategist would be probably the person to pick if you want general experience. As you can see over here, it is the most martial experience, and it raises your martial skill by 3. And then overseer would be sort of authority focus. So Overseer is really good if I plan on annexing a lot of territory and I need to police it effectively. So it adds control. And Dread. Dread is how feared I am, which is a way to prevent people from opposing me and trying to overthrow me. And it adds one martial. And then the Gallant is personal strength. It is your ability to fight in combat. So if I wanted to challenge other leaders to duels to the death, that kind of thing, they don't make for particularly good generals, but they do make for particularly good. Think Jaime Lannister would be a Gallant, whereas, you know, the Ned Stark would be... Actually, Ned Stark had a huge blind spot as a strategist, so actually Ned Stark would not be a good strategist. I take that back. Stannis would be a good strategist or something like that. So, yeah, you're going to pick the lifestyle choice there. And I am not currently married. So one of the things I might want to look for in a husband, there are a few different things that you can do in marriage. And marriage is very important in Crusader Kings because you can form alliances and you can pass down traits. So I would love to have an alliance with someone who would also be intelligent so that we could pass down intelligence to our children. But of course, if you want to meme this up, you can also form alliances with people or marriage with people who are honestly just quite dumb. And it's you know, you could be running your own little clubfoot, you know, bleeding sort of nincompoop. It's pretty funny when you do that too. So there was one that stuck out here. I don't think that they have good political reasons for me to marry them, but they were intelligent. So I'm going to have you vote whether I marry for traits, marry for skills, or marry for alliances as well. And then another part is, here is the little kingdom that I have. And as you can see, it is separated into different little zones. But the main is the sort of tribe holding here, which is this crazy name. And what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to name a lot of these after the viewers. So if you want your name in contention, I'll be naming this after subs. So lifestyle, martial, and there's other lifestyles as well, but you chose for me to focus on martial, so I'm not going to do the other 4. And it looks like strategy focus. Now eventually you can fill up the trees. As you can see, I'm strategy focused, but I can pick benefits from other trees as well. So this one lowers my cause for war by 50%, and I do start with 3 available perks to unlock. All right, and then how should I marry? I know this covers up a little bit of the UI. So I'm going to focus basically on strategist to try to gain the trait of strategist. So if you go to the bottom of the tree, you end up getting a lifestyle trait. So we have Overseer, which gives me the ability to increase control growth considerably, martial and stewardship. We have Gallant, which eventually will do martial prowess, prestige, and it makes me attractive. And then strategist, which is diplomacy, martial, enemy fatal casualties go up, and I can cross water without advantage penalties. So let's do cause for war. And then there are 3 choices here. Organized march, which is more movement speed, which I always find very helpful. This is naval speed and siege weapon effectiveness, which we aren't going to really have to do early on because most things that we're going to raid we won't need a siege in that way. There's hit and run, which allows my archers to do more damage. I particularly like that as well. And then Parthian tactics, which is good for cavalry and skirmishing. So I'm going to do the tactics and then eventually the hit and run when I unlock that. So you guys are voting that I marry for traits. So let's go down to that intelligent person. One of the advantages of them being intelligent is that they are also going to have particularly good skills as well. So as you can see, he's 11, 12, 7, 5, and 8. And his name is, I don't know. Now, the problem is because he is unlanded, he's essentially a nobody. I am going to lose prestige as a result of the marriage, and he will gain it. But that's acceptable to me. And send proposal. That part's done. Then, at this point, let's rename my holding here. So this is the first popcorn. What would you like to name the town here? You can name it after yourself, or something you come up with. Popcornish. Yeah. So if you want to just @message me, you can always rename that. You like Popcornish? All right. So we're Popcorn, and the people there are Popcornish. Perfect. Now, of course, Cornwall is way over here. This is, you know, where Cornish people would live. But hey, Popcornish is different. Maybe I'll add a capital P there. So I'm going to be playing pretty slow here. But the first thing I'm going to do is open up a channel point redemption so that you can suggest things. So if you know how to play Crusader Kings and you want to propose things for me to do, you're absolutely welcome to fulfill that channel point redemption. And once I collect a few of them, like usual, we'll be polling for it. So I'm going to play on sort of normal to slow speed initially, so that not too much happens without me knowing. So here it is. The marriage proposal for what's his name has been accepted. As you can see, his opinion of me has gone up. Now, we are in a male-dominated society, which means that as a female leader, I'm at a disadvantage. And because of that, it's going to be harder to be taken seriously. But I'm down. I like it. Brave. The likelihood of dying in battle plus 100%. Maybe I shouldn't have picked Brave, huh? All right. And this is House Valentia. The obscure House Valentia, as you can see. All right. The current situation will tell us when there might be things for us to think about. So if you want to go to war, for instance, we could see roughly how many troops they have, how many troops I have. So as an indicator of how many troops I have about 395. Now this is just regular levies. There is the possibility, of course, to hire, you know, extra troops and men-at-arms regimen, which would add additional troops at the cost of prestige. So if we're going to go try to unite our duchy, that, of course, would be, you know, we might want some additional troops depending on how strong our neighbors are. So this neighbor here is, he has 309, so he has fewer troops than we do. And then north of us, he's got 365, which is very similar. And then, who are you? Barony of Rogland. So, nope, that's not right. These guys, 2 to the south, are a little bit smaller than we are as well. So I could conquer the duchy, or alternatively, we could try to raise taxes and increase the, you know, raise taxes and sort of improve our lands or form alliances, that kind of thing. Is there a way to train advanced units? That would be in military armor. The man-at-arms regimen. The advanced units would be the veterans here, probably, or the Huskarls. But it really depends on the type of fighting that you do. So, for instance, as a strategist here, with my points where they are, let me go back to that. I'm also going to have an advantage for using certain troops as well. So, you know, with my lifestyle, I think I picked the bow one, perhaps. And there's also, so these are the decisions that we can run. Over here, we can invite new champions to our domain. We can determine a personal deity. This would allow me to increase like martial if we devote to or stewardship and prowess if we devote to Thor. These are, of course, channel point redemption decisions that you can all submit if you want. We could go on a pilgrimage, although I would not be advisable. I don't really have the money for it. We could call for a hunt if we want to lose some stress, but again, that costs money. Search for a physician if someone was hurt, wounded, sick, etc. But of course, we don't really need that at the moment. And then the suggestion here is to recruit men-at-arms because I just don't have a large levy. So that's also something that you could that we could do. So if you have any suggestions, I just spent a whole lot of suggestions. Other things that we could decide on, just because I really want you guys to decide and submit your own channel points. So other things that we could do is we could try to replace our councilwoman here, who's honestly just really not good at her current job. I'm gonna have... Oh, and we need to rename you, don't we? I forget how to do... Here we go. You know, maybe I... No, I can't rename them. But I can name my kids. So when there's anything to be named, I'll name it after you guys. Okay. So far we have three ideas. So other things would be to replace council people that we don't particularly want, invite more champions. So here's my entire court. This is not just the council, but the court as well. Ooh, and I'm pregnant. So there's a bit of a penalty to pregnant, which is that my prowess goes down, meaning that it would be a lot easier for me to die in like single combat. So here are everybody else that's in my court here. So we have a particularly bad... Oh, one thing I will do before you even ask is... Where are they? Oh, you know what? I have... Who are you? Lowborn guest? You're pretty skilled, though. I was going to run a sway scheme. So let's take a look at the council real quick. My spymaster doesn't particularly like me, so I'm going to try to sway the spymaster to like me more. Which is weird, because the spymaster is kind of responsible for running schemes, usually. So it's a little strange that I'm like, run a scheme for you to like yourself, or like me better, or something. You appreciate the name of the character? Thank you. And look how small my husband is comparatively. Little guy. Just a little guy. Alright, let me put up these 5 choices that you've put up so far. And we'll have a vote. So... we have got... raid northern neighbors for loot. So as a Northman, we don't necessarily need a cause for war. We can just draft our people as raiders and just raid people to steal money. Become a duchess, which would mean going to war with my 2 southern neighbors to claim their land. Marry female courtiers maternally to require better champions. So, marry off female courtiers. I don't know how many I have. Conquer the South, which is sort of the Duchess one. And then upgrade armed forces. Okay, so there's 4. We'll start with 4. So you can vote on what 4 we focus on. Oh, she's Catholic. That's why she doesn't like me. You know, maybe... Oh, my steward's Catholic, too. Is there a better steward? No, there's not a better steward. Is there a better spymaster? I have a courtier here that could be a better spymaster. They're lowborn. They're very young. But they're honestly better at learning. They would be a good... You know what? You are going to be replaced. Bye-bye. Okay, so there we go. Oh, and they were my goatee. Interesting. that's going to be a little awkward. So he is going to be a lot better at trying to gain us piety per month. So it wouldn't be a bad idea for us to get a better, or a spy master that like actually likes me. But maybe the scheme will work, and they will, you know, they'll cozy up to me. So now I have a new goatee here. Goatee and champion. All right. And our council is definitely a little bit more productive than it was before. There is people getting raided just south of me. They're neutral armies to me, but as you can see, the fire icons here means that they're raiders. They are just laying waste to the area. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is to get a men-at-arms regiment, and I'm going to get bowmen. Just because they're going to help supplement the levies that I have. Bowmen, I think, will be a cheaper option for us to establish. As you can see, there is upkeep of prestige per month, and it's about half of the prestige that I'm making per month as upkeep. Hey, Tangier, thanks for all the gifted subs. Cheers. So if we hired a regiment that was a lot more expensive, the upkeep would have been really penalizing. Bowmen are full maintenance 0.3 a month, unraised maintenance 0.1 a month. So when we have a full regiment of bowmen and they're just sitting around doing nothing, they're a third of the cost. But as you can see here, you know, there's a bunch of different types of troops, all with their specific benefits. So, for instance, the Huskarls and the veterans, the Varangian veterans, are really good in the winter. So if you're fighting a southern army and they are coming into your territory in the winter, and you have those troops, they're not going to suffer penalties, for instance. Edgar, thanks for the follow. All right, so current goal is for the bowmen. We got that done. Let's do one more. There we go. My daughter and heir. Oh boy, what should your name be? I am not sure, but it will be named after Sky Collective. So Sky, if you got a name for me to use, let me know. If you just want to be Sky Collective, that works too. So when the first contraction started, a great calm came over me. There was no room for my worries from before. I was about to perform one of Freya's greatest miracles. After a long but glorious struggle, I brought forth a perfect little daughter. One day, child, you will carry on my legacy. What name would befit a chieftess? That's some Yoda. Hi. Sky is good? Alright, we'll name you Sky. And I gain prestige as a result. Alright, I refunded some of the goals submitted to me. They need to be small in scope. They need to be manageable to be able to be done in a reasonable amount of time. So goals like win the entire game, really not that applicable. Yes. You might hear a little bloop in the back. No, actually, not gonna bloop. Good. So taking a look at this little poll here, trying to push for the duchy is going to be the current goal. So let me get that updated. Become a duchess. Cool. I am down to do that. So first things first, we're going to need to decide to declare war on someone. And for our duchy, if you view the duchy titles, to become the duchy of this area, we need to go south. So we are going to be declaring war on Hordalan, which is Chief Eirik, or whatever his name is. and they have an inferior army to me. So seems like a great great time to declare war. So there we go. I've declared war on him. And then the first thing I'm going to want to do is raise my armies. It's also going to raise 45 of my bowmen, but I did not wait for all of my bowmen to be ready. So it's only raising a partial amount of them as a result of, being impatient, but that's fine. And we're at war. Now, I did time this in a good way where we managed to not be pregnant right at the start of this because, of course, being pregnant puts us at a little bit of a disadvantage. One of the advantages of having a good... my husband just provided a benefit where I now have minus 25% men-at-arms maintenance because of my spouse's... well, actually, it happened in spite of my spouse's stewardship. His poor stewardship, so... Thank you for not making a mess of my my armies here. So the upkeep for my bowmen are a little bit lower. And what I'm doing is I'm just marching straight to their capital. And we are going to kill, hack, slash, and murder. So here is the battle. You can kind of see how it is happening. We have decent quality troops on both sides. Right now is the maneuver phase where both sides are preparing for battle. Let me slow down time even more. And then it will be the next phase I should do quite well because I have bowmen. So here, the early battle phase where ordered retreat will be possible in the late battle phase in 12 days. If the army is defeated in the early battle phase, it will be completely destroyed, which is not all that likely because we don't outnumber them too highly. But you can see that I have an advantage. My damage is increased by 8% due to the advantage that I have because I have high martial skill, I'm leading my own soldiers, I have, pagan combat advantage, that kind of thing. And then you can see their advantage too. So I'm a 13 martial skill versus their, I'm a 16 versus their 13, and we both rolled the same battle number, which was 7. So there is some RNG involved. Now, my battle advantage has gone up. They rolled lower, and they are also losing troops. And you can see as the fight progresses, how many have routed, and the commander advantages here. They're getting totally destroyed, so, that works for me. And enemy commander Tyke, not so good. Okay, our spy master just got more swayed, so we are at true neutral with her, which is good. Because we don't want to be at odds with anyone on our own council. And now they are down to 0, where we are about to claim victory. And they are retreating. They are completely routed to the south. And the victory gave me about 17% war score. We didn't capture anyone important. Had we captured someone important, our war score would have gone up more considerably. One of the things I could do here is to actually send the first army of Popcorn south to go mess with them once they arrive from being routed. Brave trait should be scary to you. That is a perfectly honest assessment. All right, let's try to catch them. Now, alternatively, what we could have done is we could have just besieged their town here instead, which is, I mean, no, I'm not going to be able to pronounce anything. Why even I try? Why bother? And then the other question is, will anyone mess with me as I mess with them? Because that is another big question. Is, will there be... Alright, so there's a potential battle in 5 days if I catch up to them. There it is. So instead of going after the town, I'm just chasing them down. Now, they do have a little bit of a battle advantage here. as you can see. But it's going to level off, I think, pretty... Yeah, there we go. And it looks like our champion just killed someone important to them. So that's... well, that sucks for you guys. And victory yet again. So, the war score now going up in my favor. Both battles, you know, being counted against the enemy, or be counting for me, I should say. You can indeed have a navy, yes. You can, that's generally how you would raid. If I sent my troops out on a boat, they would just instantly become, they'd instantly go into their own, like, long ships. But for now, with the goal that I have that way, I don't really have to go overseas, because we're just conquering the locals. Okay, we're starting off with a huge disadvantage, but this favor will quickly turn to our favor. But this is because they had a defensive advantage of defending home in a taiga. Didn't matter. Alright, now the other problem is that, here we go. We have siege progress, but the garrison of the city that there is to siege is more populous than my invading army. So as a net result, I'm sort of stuck hunting them instead for war score. Or alternatively, if I want to replenish my own troops, I could go back to Popcorn and refill my troop count so that we would be able to besiege. So there's sort of two ways to win. I'm really hoping to be able to kill their leader or to capture someone important to be able to turn the tides here, but I could also leave it up to you. Let's see. Oh, well, let's check out this fight. At least we're not starting at a huge disadvantage, which is kind of nice for once. Alright, very, very simple poll here. How to win, siege or kill. And here, awkwardly enough, there is a third party who is raiding. So what I'm going to do, if the third party is raiding, is I'm going to go home and refill my troops regardless, because it looks like, actually, I have got raiders coming to me, and unfortunately, they outnumber me dramatically. But they're currently neutral. Yeah, they're raiding me. Okay. Let me go around and back into my territory. Yeah, as Sionis mentioned, I don't need to go all the way home. All I need to really do is go within my own territory. But as you can see, this raider cut me off from my own territory. And unfortunately, that's going to hurt my income. Household savings. Whoa! Dang! My husband made a whole lot of money out of nowhere. So one of the things that we could do with this is we could build, and let me pause for a second. We could build a building here. So, it looks like you want me to win to kill. So, how should I spend my money? Building, saving it up. So, if you want me to build, I can build. So, the things to build here would be markets, which would increase the amount of money that I make. I could build gathering halls, which increases my prestige and control. Control is not necessarily all that needed here in my hometown because I have maximum control, but I digress. War camps, which increase the amount of levies and knights I have and the effectiveness of those troops. Or palisades, which just make it so that I have a larger levy, a garrison, and defender advantage. Can we hire more mercenaries? Yeah, well, submit it as a goal. Well, once the goals are open. All right, so it looks like this raider here is done. What are you doing? I don't even know what they're doing. So right now I'm being raided, but I don't have the, I'm going to lose 15 gold estimated, and I don't have the troops to be able to defend myself like that. So here we go. I have another. You guys want me to build, but I have another quick decision here. What should I do? Spend 75 prestige or form or closer to a rivalry. So Sagan got sacked, and I can either swear to avenge the chieftain that did this guy, or just suffer the prestige. And pretty clearly, closer to rivalry will work, so done. All right, now the other thing I want to ask you all is about the building that you want me to build. So, what building? And yes, I know these polls are going to go fast. Sometimes. So we got palisades, war camps, gathering halls, or markets. I have, I'm going to have 85 gold left at the end of this, which means I'm going to have enough to buy one of these, and they will take 3 years or 8 years or 8 years or 5 years to build. So it is a long-term investment. There's only really so much that you can even build at all. And I can leave that pole up a little bit longer. Courtier killed in the siege. So I have a courtier that died as the result of that siege. They were not in my council, so I'm going to dismiss that. But all the more reason for a rivalry. What, are you going to try to siege me too? So another thing that I might be able to do, if I'm continuing to get sieged, is to create another men-at-arms regiment. So I'm going to create armored footmen. And as you can see, my prestige is negative 0.16 per month. But these guys are currently unraised. I think it's going to be important if I'm basically a nobody Viking with barely a kingdom, that I need to be able to defend myself, even at the cost of my own prestige. So it looks like I need to get my population above maybe 230 or 321 in order to be able to take on my war target. And it looks like you guys want me to make markets. Got it. Oh, I'm missing prestige for that because I just did a I created the armored footmen. So at the end of this current war that I'm in, I should be able to recoup that prestige. But I will add it to my current goal. There it is. And now we're just waiting for my troops to replenish enough that I can take on the enemy tribe. All right, the Spymaster just got swayed yet again. I am going to change my current scheme here to sway my steward, because my steward's opinion of me is lower. And as you can see, a lot of their opinions is, some of it is because we have differing... Oh, I need more than this. I need 345 at least. Okay, let's get back home. I miscalculated. So their garrison is 345 strong, so I need at least 345 troops to be able to besiege it. If they outnumber you, it's just not going to let you do that. But we're pretty close to that number. Right, buddy? I'm really hoping that we fly under the radar and we can stay scrappy. Because one of the things that you can end up have happen to you is like a huge kingdom could just come and like crush us. And I've definitely lost being a tiny little lord of nothing that way. We got another perk. Let's do hit and run because that will give us additional archer damage. And we do have archers, right? So right now, as you can see in my military, I've got armored footmen. which is heavy infantry, and I've got archers. So martial perks that benefit those two are going to be particularly useful to me. Now I'm going to raise all armies, merge the two, and take my 480 south to their capital. There's really no one to kill anymore because, well, to be honest, they got murdered off by a bunch of raiders. So all that I have left to be able to do is to take their capital and make them submit to my war claim. So there we go. As you can see, we are making siege progress. And they are not going to be able to hold out very long. Let's educate the kid ourselves. So, Sky is going to become my ward. Sky Sarolyn, daughter of Valentia. That is a mouthful. It's also saying that I can fabricate a claim here as a cause for war. But I don't really need to do that because I believe that's the same claim that we are currently fabricating. So with Sky as my ward, we are going to be taking the responsibility of training her myself. But because I'm one of the most skilled people in my own empire, might as well do that. There's really no disadvantage to educating. Unless you want to, you know, if there was someone on my council that was particularly skilled at one thing, like let's say I really wanted my daughter to be a priestess, I could have the Godi do it, but yeah. Oh, you know what? I just realized that my Godi is a content atheist. Wait, that's awkward, but sure, okay. I have a atheist as my spiritual leader. That's all sorts of strange. But I'm gonna roll with it. Alright, so here's the siege progress. We're almost done. And then this will kick us up to 100% war score, and we'll end this war. And then we know who's next, which is Rhadamant. So there it is. Enforce the demands. And disband my army, because I don't need the army standing. It actually will make it cheaper on my prestige to disband them. Now, I can... what I can do here is this new land here is going to be named after you guys. So let me do that real quick. But it has very low control. So MVP, what would you want to name this town? It's up to you. So this town here has very, very low control. But we actually are gaining a bunch of control per month, which is going to be really, really good. So 1 control per month. We have the ability to raise a runestone. And if I spent my gold to raise a runestone, I would gain prestige, but I would lose the opportunity to be able to... buy the markets. So I will ultimately ask you all. But there's 3 types of runestones here. There's a conquest runestone, which we could erect in Rhadamant here, and that would enforce control. There's the clout runestone, and then there's the ancestral runestone. All right, you can formulate a name if you want. So, I'll be asking you all, between those options, what would you prefer? So, should I build markets or a runestone? The advantage of the markets would be my money in my hometown goes up in popcorn, and then the advantage of the runestone is the control here would go up, which would allow me to start drawing taxes from them. Because as the control is so low, as you can see, the money that I'm making from here is 0. I don't make any money. Now, there's other ways to increase control here. Alternatively, I could have my council, I could have my marshal or my steward increase the development in a county or to increase control in a county, but it would draw them away from being able to organize levies or collect taxes. So there's benefits on both sides. Now, looks like markets might be the choice here. Pretty soon, my footmen are going to be in unraised maintenance mode, which will allow my prestige to go back up. If this, yep, there we go. So now we're making half a prestige a month because there's no maintenance cost here. Not a high maintenance cost anymore for having these two groups. And my champion, my Steward and champion, just became swayed. As you can see, he's liking me more and more and more, which is going to be important. Now, control is going to go up here just as a result of my military presence, which is kind of nice. But as you can see, taxes in the county are changed by negative 95%. Emheim? Perfect. And Hymian. All right, so we have Emheim and Popcorn. Awesome. Well, I have yet one more war to declare on Rhadamant, on the chieftain Helgerskin. So we are going to conquer his county here. He's an inferior force to us. But before I even do that, one thing I want to do is rally points. So I'm going to create a new rally point right at the border here. And delete the old rally point so that when I raise my army, they're raised right at the border of the enemy territory. All right, so you, I'm going to conquer you. And raise here. That wasn't all the armies, but let me raise the rest of the armies. There we go. 750. Oh, that's not going to be good for you, buddy. Okay, this will probably, once finished, give me the Duchess, the Duchy title. I do have to fabricate that title, and that's not cheap. So that's going to take a minute to happen. And I'm going to go straight for a siege here instead of trying to chase them down. All right, so another thing that I'm gonna ask you is about the duchy title of the markets, but ruler in the making. Sky is gaining the trait Bossy. Bossy gives her martial skill and stewardship skill. Formidable or aggravating. It's a fine line to walk. Bossy isn't necessarily a bad thing, as long as you're shaped into something good. We don't want a Joffrey. Oh, really? You're going to attack me? Oh, man. Look at this advantage here. Now, let me slow down time so I can appreciate how brutalized they're going to get. My advantage is plus 24, plus 34. Ooh. Having bowmen and armored footmen with high martial skill, these guys are just... I actually might wipe them out. It's still early battle phase. Oh! Our champion... just ripped the head off of one of theirs. Which champion was it? Hold on, let me see. Someone needs a raise. You, our Goatee and champion, I think was the one that ripped the head off the enemy. Pretty metal. Yeah, there's really not a whole lot of you. Enemy combatants captured. So, here's something interesting. Our forces captured the marshal, the enemy marshal. And if I go to the court here and go to the prisoners, as you can see, here is their the person that we captured, who I can either negotiate a release, execute, or ransom. I'm gonna wait until I can ransom, because gold is, well, it's rare and I want it. I think that makes sense. Murderized indeed. Il Capo, thanks for the follow. I need a Marshall plan. All right, let's clear that. And Mateus, welcome as well. So taking a look here, you guys want me to fabricate the duchy title over the markets, which I can agree to that. So once we form this duchy, I'm going to be putting up channel point redemptions that were currently submitted, and we will vote on what my next goal is. But if we zoom out here, as you can see, there's a few duchy titles here. So there's the Duchy of Gula something or another, which is this area here. Then there's this duchy down here of Egda, oh my god. Whatever. And then there's the duchy in the north, this pink duchy, well, this violet lavender duchy, whatever, I don't know. That's not lavender. But and then this more pink duchy. I also have to be very careful because there is surely, no doubt, a ton of much more well-armed leaders around me. So I have to be very careful about who I piss off and probably try to form some alliances so that I'm not so vulnerable, because there are undoubtedly some enemies out there that have thousands of troops and I just have a mere 600, and I would not stand any chance. I'm pregnant again. I had a baby, it's a boy. Maybe. We'll see. Thank you for watching Crusader Kings 3 Northern Lords, which originally aired live on Twitch. This series is a result of a poll I put out every week, where my viewers get to determine what I play on Thursdays on Twitch. As of now, there's only been one stream, or 5 hours, of Crusader Kings 3, and if there is to be any more, it will have to win in the polls. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timer, and it also has links to these polls I was just mentioning. Thank you so very much for watching. I'll catch you next episode, and hopefully an upcoming stream.